All right, picking up right where we left off last time. We're working on the lights, and right now I've got the tail lights on. If you remember, I replaced those inner lights with new bulbs, and it just made a world of difference. They're nice and bright again. So I'm going to start today by replacing the bulbs in the outer lights as well, and we'll go from there. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, here's the old one. The number is 1154. It's a dual filament bulb. And I looked it up on the internet, and it is 6 volts. So let's go ahead and put the new one in. This has the same number on it also, 1154. And when you're... All right, I've got all 4 bulbs switched out with new ones. And I don't know if I mentioned this yet or not, but when we started on the truck, this lens was completely cracked out and broken. And I found just a generic one on Amazon for like $3. Depending on what we do with this truck cosmetically, we might want to replace all 4 of those in the future, so they're all new and clear, and that all 4 match. But for now, I'm really happy with that $6 replacement, and that will decrease our chances of getting pulled over when we take this for the first drive. All right, like I said in the previous video, I think that somehow the blinkers are wired through the brake light wiring as well. I'm not sure what's going on with that yet because I haven't poked around with the wiring too much. But this is the new brake switch. It screws into the front of the master cylinder. This is a new 6-volt blinker relay switch. The most logical thing to do, in my opinion, is to put the brake switch in first. But because this one is so much easier to install, we just remove the old wires and push the new ones on. I'm going to put this in first, see if we have any changes whatsoever to our situation, and then if we need to, we'll put the brake switch in after that. All right, there's the old blinker relay. I'm not going to be able to get this on camera, so I just wanted to show you kind of where it was and what it looked like. I've got some suspect wiring going on right there. And like I said also in a previous video, this truck doesn't have a fuse box, so it's kind of hard to figure out what goes where. The good news is that the wiring harness looks to be semi-new to me. The sheathing on the wires is still good. They still have color. They don't appear to be old or cracked or anything like that. So I'd say in the last 20 years or so, this truck has probably had a brand new wiring harness installed. All right, I've got the new flasher installed. Keep your eye right here. See if it works. Well, look at that. I don't know if you can tell on camera or not, but it's actually somewhat bright too. Before they were hardly working at all. Sometimes they actually wouldn't work at all, and other times they would barely flash. It would be very dim and it'd be a very slow blink. This is a much faster blink, so far so good. Let's check the right side. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Even in the sunlight, those are bright enough to see them, and they might even be a skosh brighter with the truck running, but probably not significantly. Well, that's really good news. All right, we got to check the front just to make sure, because these were working before also, and then they stopped working. Yeah, we got a nice healthy flash on that too. Let's check the left. Oh yeah, that's nice and bright. All right, very good. I had the key on accessory if anybody's interested. So now that we have the blinkers working and working well, I think there's a small chance that the brake lights might work now. So I'm gonna start the truck and jump in it and see if we get lucky here with the brake lights. right, I've got the truck in the shop here where it's a little bit dimmer, and let's go through the lights one more time. Left blinker. Right blinker. Tail lights. Brakes. Left blinker with brakes. Right blinker with brakes. Well, all right, everything looks pretty good. I think all the lights are working. The only quasi issue we have at this time is that the brake lights don't come on unless you press on the pedal firmly. If you just sort of press on the brake pedal moderately or halfway or lightly, you're not going to engage the switch and the brake lights aren't going to come on. You have to push on the pedal quite firmly to get them to come on. And one of the reasons for that is that this brake light switch is hydraulically activated. So it screws into the front of the master cylinder and you press on the brake pedal and it shoots juice up into the switch, and pressure activates the switch. So it might be working as designed. That is to say, you always have to push on the brake pedal rather firmly to get the lights to engage, or maybe the master cylinder is a little bit low on fluid, and maybe if we top it off, it will have more pressure to pump up into the switch. But I'm not going to do that right this second. We're going to check that later. The brakes seem to work fine. So now we're just going to check some fluids, and then we're going to take this truck for its first road test since it's been in my possession. I'll see how she does on the road, and then when we get back, I'll consult the whiteboard over there. We'll summarize where we are and where we need to be with the project. So I'll add a few more gallons of gas to the tank, and let's take this thing for a road trip. Maiden voyage here, and I don't know if it's in the frame or not, but the dome light is not going off, so we got to add that to the list now. It was working fine before, but the door's closed and the dome light is still on. Oh well. is also a little bit crooked. You can see we're going straight, and it's cocked to the right, and I think it's might be upside down too. I'm not sure. I got to look into that. You can see the fan indicator light is on, and I can hear the fan running, but I don't think I can feel any warm air yet. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, I think it's starting to warm up. We'll check on that in a couple minutes here. Let's keep going. Speedometer is working, but I calibrated it with my GPS speedometer on my phone, and it's about 2 to 3 miles per hour slow on this indicator here. The odometer is also working. Alright, well the truck's been off for about 10 minutes or so. Just got a phone call from my son Evan, so that was a nice break. But let's check the temperature on the cylinder head. 130, 130, 130. Wow, they are very consistent across the board. That generally indicates a good running engine. So the truck did great on our drive. Let me guess how many miles that might have been. I'd say probably about 7 miles or so, maybe 10 miles tops, no more than that. Fastest I got it was about 40. It seemed to really like to cruise at about 35 to 38. It actually drives pretty well. The truck feels nice and sturdy. There's no wobble to the wheels or anything like that. So it just kind of feels like you're driving a 70-year-old truck, you know? But as a result, we did add a couple things to the list. We got a crooked steering wheel we got to fix. The steering itself is a little bit loose. That's something that's pretty common on these old tractors and old trucks. The steering boxes, the steering gears just get worn out and they need to be replaced. We can check the steering components to see if we can tighten it up that way. But generally, in my experience anyway, it usually requires like a new steering box or something of that nature. And then we also added water temperature gauge back to the list because I forgot about that and that is still not working. Let's see what else happened on the trip. The speedometer works, like I said when I was driving the truck. According to my GPS on my cell phone, it's about 3 miles per hour less on the gauge in the truck than it is on my cell phone on the GPS. But I think that's close enough for our purposes. The odometer is working, and what's really fun is that the heater is working. Not only does the heater work and blow warm air, but the fan works, and that little light inside the knob on the dash even works. So that was kind of a surprise. All right, here's our summary where we're at now. We still need to inspect the brakes. Even though the system seems to be working, there's no leaks, the brakes seem to function, they stop the truck. That's going to be kind of a big deal too. So we definitely have to inspect the brakes to make sure they are safe. And then we have to determine if we want to install that new brake light switch now or later or never. We still have to address the transmission and that transfer case leak. We did improve upon that situation, but we still have a very small leak coming out of there, and that's not something that we can just overlook. That has to be addressed. Dash lights, I've got a couple new bulbs down there in that pack. They're all ready to install. It's just a very low priority item. I just want to see if they will make the dash lights any brighter with new bulbs. The door latches, we addressed that in one of the previous videos and did improve upon the situation quite a bit, but I'm still not happy with how the doors open and close. The driver's door is okay. There's a little bit of sag to it, so maybe we can address that somehow. The passenger door is going to be a little bit harder to get completely operational because the mechanism inside the door doesn't seem to work anymore like it should. So I want to address that as well. Leaf spring retainers, those are those little clips that kind of hold the leaf springs together. There's several of them missing, you know, in the front and the rear, so I'd like to put new ones of those on. Tailgate, something I haven't showed you yet. On the left side of the tailgate right there, that is connected to the tailgate, and it looks to me like it's welded down inside that channel. And its purpose is, of course, to put a chain through there so the gate doesn't fly open when you're going down the road. Well, that one's okay the way it is, for now anyway. But the one on the right side over here is completely missing. I think that's pretty obvious. So it really bangs back and forth when you're going down the road. Even just pulling it in and out of the shop, it'll do this. I think you can actually buy that inner tab piece that's missing. Maybe we can re-weld it. But that tailgate is pretty boogered up in there. It looks like we have some rot from rust, and looks like it's bent up a little bit. So anyway, I want to address that somehow just so it's not banging around. And whether that will be a temporary or a permanent fix, I'm not quite sure yet. And the tires, if you remember from one of the previous videos, we determined that they're 18 going on 19 years old now. Even though they're in good condition and they're holding air, I put a question mark there because we have to decide if we want to replace all the tires or not because of their age. Once we get all these things on the list addressed to the best of our ability, then we need to start thinking about what are we going to do with some cosmetics. But let's focus on getting this new list knocked out, and we'll go from there. Thanks everybody for watching. As always, I appreciate it. if you like these videos, please consider subscribing, and of course the likes always help as well. Take care, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.